All right, well, we'll get started, and I'm recording this, that's what this is, so that anyone who is not able to be here but wants to know about the little pieces can watch this. And a couple things, we're just going to go very briefly over the different roles of what we do on a Sunday for supporting. Feel free to ask any questions if I'm not clear. And then part of it is that we kind of want to know what's going to be the best process going forward. Because some of the ways we did things with scheduling before COVID may not work. And obviously the last 2 years we really kept volunteer stuff down to a minimum because we knew not everyone was going to be able to be available or comfortable to come in. So we're kind of trying to think of what is the best process for people being involved now. So feel free to give your opinion and brainstorm. So first things first, for ushering, traditionally, as many of you may have grown up, when you saw ushers, you saw kind of older, distinguished gentlemen in their suits. And that is not the only kind of person that can usher, right? Can be absolutely anybody. And we can have young people usher, because right now the tasks for ushering is to make sure that people have a bulletin when they come into worship. On non-communion Sundays, that is the biggest task. We may get to the point where we pass the offering plates again, but we have not been doing that for a while. So it is possible then that we would need one or two people to help pass the offering plates. But for the most part, on non-communion Sundays, it's really helping to pass out the bulletins and maybe light the candles up here too if they've not been lit. On communion Sundays, besides maybe candles and bulletins, we do need two ushers, one who will be up here with me to help to serve the bread and the wine. And then we usually have one person in the pews that just helps to make sure people know it's time to go, gives them permission to get going. So, and then two, what's really helpful about that, if you are the person who's ushering, is that if you notice someone has not gotten up to come forward who wants communion, but for maybe mobility reasons can't come forward, then you kind of let me know and signal to me. Because I'm usually just focused on what's happening at the railing. I'm not focused on who exactly is coming up. So those are sort of the big things. And I would say with ushering, as long as there is one adult, we can have people under 18 who are helping with the ushering. Any questions or thoughts or? Thank you. So there is a sheet that is often paired with the bulletins that is a count for how many people are in worship. And that's helpful because when we keep track of that over years, we know how many bulletins to print for a particular Sunday. We can kind of gauge worship trends and things like that. So yeah, you do take count. And if you do count, you count, yes, me and Nate. And even the children that are underneath the pews. Every breathing soul in the building. So, thank you. Yeah, that's a rare thing, but it would be nice for the ushers to be a little bit aware that if for some reason somebody's looking like they're in need of medical attention, that you'd probably be the ones who would grab your cell phone and call and get somebody. And we do have a wheelchair, as you mentioned. Amy. Oh, if you're certified in first aid, that is a huge bonus. That would be wonderful. I think that if we did have a medical emergency, we may, possibly ask it that anyway, so if anyone was. Absolutely. So what Scott said is we have a walker and we have a wheelchair available. We have in room 1 an IED that is up to date. And then we could probably use another training for people who wanted to know how to use it. I believe it does prompt you. So in a case of emergency, you probably can figure out how to use it. It just would be ideal if we had people who felt comfortable and were guided through it once. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. We could definitely do that, where we could create kind of what needs to be done maybe on communion and non-communion Sundays. Maybe we could have that.
Actually, you need probably another usher for communion.
Communion, we definitely would want 2 ushers. For non-communion Sunday, 1 is usually okay. Yeah. Unless we start to pass the plates again, then it's helpful sometimes to have 2 for that reason. Well, that was the question that I was going to ask towards the end, so that's fine to ask it now, is I know that with people's schedules, not everyone is able to just be scheduled on a Sunday and know they can make it. Would it be more helpful if we had a visible sign-up sheet where people could write down what Sunday they wanted to do what task? And it could even be available on a Google Sheet online as well. So if people were not physically in the building for a few weeks, they could go through our website and sign up through the website, basically, to the Google Sheet and sign up for the different roles. Okay. All right. Let's think about that. So it'd be a live Google Sheet, and then whatever you signed up on a paper out here, for example, would immediately be transferred to the Google Sheet, so you wouldn't have to worry about if you're not a computer person. We would take care of that end for you. Good. Okay. Good question. So the reading would be very simple. We could send that to you the week before for you to look at and peruse and ask if there's any strange names that you're not sure how to pronounce and so on and so forth. And then whether we're inside here or outside, when it's time, you just come forward and speak very clearly, and that's it. I mean, that's maybe an easy job. You just have to be okay with public speaking. Any questions about reading? We have done that as well, and so that could be an option. Sometimes I would talk to the person and see if they were comfortable reading the prayers. And then with that, there's the flexibility to add a little bit to that if you wish. So I've often written the prayers, but then in the past, sometimes if someone felt like there was something going on in the world and they wanted to add a petition, they certainly could. If you wanted to actually write the prayers as well, that is allowed. So I don't necessarily want you to feel that just if you read, you have to do the prayers or write the prayers as well, but you certainly could. So the next one is Altar Guild, and do we have Altar Guild people here in the room? A lot of this is behind the scenes. So one of the things that Altar Guild does, the most obvious, is set up for communion. This is a very easy thing that can be done. They make sure that there is bread and wine and grape juice in the cups, and they set that out. And they can certainly, if you're interested, train you in on how to do that. You don't even have to come in early Sunday morning to do that. You can set that up the day before, very flexible on time. And then after worship, there would be some cleanup. It used to be when we had communion each week, the alternating weeks was intinction, if you remember, which we kind of stopped doing with COVID. And that was a lot simpler of a setup for the Altar Guild. It was really easy because they just needed bread and a single cup, not all the individual cups. So that's one reason why we moved away from communion every single Sunday, was because of the extra work with all the cups. So you could, if you wanted to, be a part of Altar Guild, be trained in and learn how to either set up or be part of the cleanup crew. But another important thing that Altar Guild does is that they will seasonally decorate the church, the sanctuary. So the white banners you have here, and often you'll have little paraments, they're called, hanging from the altar and the lectern. Those change color based on the season that we're in. And that, again, is a job that could be done at any point during the week. They just can show you the closet where the paraments are, and that's something that could easily be done. You do it once and you don't have to do it again for a month, or in this case, we're not changing now until Reformation Sunday on end of October. So there's little jobs that you can easily do as being part of Altar Guild. So, any questions?
Is that also filling the candles?
Yes, you can also learn how to fill the candles because they're oil, and they do get low. As long as we have someone who, knows where to order all that stuff, and we have all that, you can be trained in on what part of the job you want to do. Candles, paraments, communion setup, communion teardown. Yes. That's the one time you get to see the Altar Guild is on Good Friday, actually the end of Maundy, Thursday, where the Altar Guild comes forward and they strip the altar, take all the paraments down to prepare for Good Friday, which is a very stark service. Yeah. One of the other things that has shifted in COVID is money counting, the offering. Right now, currently, for the last 2 years, it's pretty much been Gary and Scott who on Monday morning will count the offering and bring that to the bank. So in the past, what we've had is after worship, you need 2 adults who are not related to each other over the age of 18 who will go and count the offering and make note of the different envelopes and who gave what. And you have like a counter sheet, correct, Scott? Right. Where you fill things out. So if someone was interested in doing that, again, that could just be every once in a while. And then do you also go and deposit the money in the bank? Right. Okay. So if someone was interested in doing that, I know for sure Scott is very familiar with this process among other people and could help. But it would probably be a nice thing. Again, we've had some volunteers doing a lot more in the last 2 years, so it'd be nice to sort of share the love again and get more people involved in these different roles, including counting the offering. So those are really the biggest roles. I guess the last one is serving coffee, and we do want more people to participate in either the making of the coffee, setting up and bringing treats, and cleaning up, and it doesn't have to be the same person doing all of those. Although you could just do one Sunday where you do it all. You learn how to make the coffee in the big pot. You set up the food, and then after worship or after everyone's done with coffee hour, you clean up. And just do that once a month or once every 3 months or so. But I know Jean is looking for more people who would help to serve coffee. So for the Altar Guild, you could talk to Jean Nelson. For any of these, you could talk to me if I can always refer you later. So if you don't remember, talk to me. For Reader, talk to me. For Usher, talk to me. But yeah, Jean Nelson is a great leader of the Altar Guild. Coffee Fellowship, talk to Jean Nelson. Yeah. So if you're interested in Sunday school or nursery, talk to Rich. We'll put you to work. They'll find a job for you. Yeah, I guess, actually I didn't think of this, but one of the last roles we have, as I see because Theodore walked in, Theodore has been trained in how to click the computer screen slides for Heather. A very simple job overall, unless for some reason a poltergeist has gotten into our system and, then it's no longer simple. But for most of the time, it's a very easy job. And so if it's something you're interested in doing, of clicking a button to help our worship slides go through, very easy training. And on Sundays where Heather is unable to be here for work or other reasons, it's good to have backups. So, yes, Jacob. Property, yes. Yeah, it's funny because I just meant for this to be about worship, but we may as well bring in all the good volunteering that is possible. We will continue to need people in property as well as custodial who can offer their time, even if it's just on either one particular job or one particular event or something like that. And Yeah. John Fight's here, property helper, so if you have more questions about that, he's physically here and could answer, but yes. That's right, way back in the recesses of my memory. Yeah. We would never turn away someone who wanted to straighten up the sanctuary and clean it and make sure things are in the right places. I think there has been less of a need of that in the last couple years, but when we took the books away and we weren't letting people in the sanctuary, yeah, there's a little bit less of a need to straighten things up, but yeah, we're getting back into things. Yeah, we're always looking for more people to be a part of music, so if whether that's choir or the band or something else, yes.
We're not picky.
We're not, yeah, he'll guide you. That's a great point. I'll just reiterate that a job that all of us can do, whether we are a worship volunteer or not, is when we see someone that we do not know, we can just simply go up and say, "Hi, my name is Siri. I don't believe we've met." And that way they say, and this happened, we had someone who was a member way a long time ago who now has been coming back, and but I had not met them, they had not met me, so they weren't so much new, right? So that's a great reminder. Yeah. Thank you. Well, enjoy the rest of your days.